Imagine a young man, let's call him Josh, an ambitious college student with a bright future ahead. Picture him, the epitome of youthful optimism, with a spring in his step and a sparkle in his eyes. He's the kind of person who wakes up every morning with a sense of anticipation, ready to conquer the world. But one day, the world Josh knew turned upside down. Out of nowhere, he found himself exposed to a situation so traumatic, so utterly horrifying, that it shook the very core of his being. This unforeseen event marked the onset of a mental health condition known as Acute Stress Disorder, or ASD. ASD is like a thief in the night, stealing away pieces of a person's identity, replacing them with shadows of fear and uncertainty. For Josh, it began with a sense of being in a daze, a detachment from reality. His once vibrant world now seemed dull and distant, as if he were viewing life through a foggy window. Soon, Josh's behavior began to change drastically. The once sociable and outgoing young man now avoided gatherings, preferring the isolation of his room. His sleep was plagued with nightmares, a replay of the traumatic event that had triggered his disorder. Even his personality underwent a transformation. The jovial, light-hearted Josh, who could always find a reason to smile, now carried a somber expression. His laughter, once contagious, had vanished, replaced by silent brooding. His friends noticed how he had become unusually irritable, jumping at the slightest of noises. Josh's journey into the abyss of ASD is not unique. It's an unseen battle being fought by countless individuals across the globe. It's a testament to how a single event can alter the course of a person's life, wreaking havoc on their mental well-being. Just within a few days, Josh was not the same person anymore. His life had taken a drastic turn. Josh started experiencing intense, intrusive thoughts. He had trouble sleeping and he constantly felt on edge. Imagine a world where your every waking moment is filled with fear and anxiety. This has become Josh's reality. He can't escape the constant barrage of overwhelming thoughts. They're like a swarm of bees that won't stop buzzing, an unending, suffocating hum in the back of his mind. It's as if his thoughts have a mind of their own, leading him down dark alleys of despair. Josh's condition, acute stress disorder, or ASD, is more than just stress. It's an invisible chain that binds him, altering his personality and affecting his well-being. He's no longer the cheerful, outgoing person he used to be. The light in his eyes has dimmed, replaced by a weary, distant gaze. His laughter, once loud and infectious, is now but a faint echo of its former self. But it doesn't stop there. His sleep is restless, plagued by nightmares and cold sweats. His heart races at the slightest trigger, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. He's constantly on edge, a prisoner in his own body. It's as if he's living in a constant state of emergency, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. The invisible chains of ASD have also begun to affect his relationships. His friends don't understand why he's changed. They miss the old Josh, the one who was always the life of the party. His family is concerned too. They see him struggling, but they don't know how to help. Life with ASD is like living in a dark room with no windows, no doors. It's an unending tunnel with no light at the end. It's a heavy weight that pulls you down, a constant reminder of your own vulnerability. But Josh is not alone. There are millions of people out there, just like him, living with the invisible chains of ASD. They're fighting their own battles, struggling to break free from the shackles of their own minds. Josh was trapped in his own mind, chained by an invisible disorder. But remember, it's not the end of his story. It's just the beginning of his journey towards understanding and healing. Acute stress disorder is a mental health condition that can occur in the immediate aftermath of a traumatic event. This disorder, often abbreviated as ASD, is a response to a high-stress situation or trauma. It may be a car accident, a violent crime, or a natural disaster. But what exactly happens when someone experiences ASD? In essence, ASD is a reaction to trauma that disrupts a person's ability to function normally. It might manifest as intrusive thoughts, nightmares, or even disassociation, where the person feels detached from their body or reality. A person with ASD might also re-experience the traumatic event through flashbacks, making the world seem like a terrifying place. Risk factors for ASD can vary widely. Some people may be more susceptible due to their genetics, while others may develop the disorder because of environmental factors, like a lack of support after a traumatic event. It's also worth noting that people who have experienced previous traumas, or who have a history of other mental health disorders, are at a higher risk of developing ASD. In terms of prevalence, studies suggest that approximately 1 in 10 people who experience a traumatic event will develop ASD. That's a significant portion of the population, especially considering how many people experience traumatic events in their lifetime. Let's consider a case study. Imagine a person, let's call them Alex. Alex was in a severe car accident. In the immediate aftermath, Alex found themselves constantly reliving the crash, feeling on edge and struggling to sleep. These symptoms disrupted Alex's life significantly, affecting their work, relationships, and overall well-being. This is a typical presentation of ASD. However, it's crucial to remember that ASD is a temporary condition. With appropriate intervention and support, most people recover within a month. But if the symptoms persist, there's a risk of the disorder progressing to post-traumatic stress disorder, a more long-term and potentially debilitating condition. ASD, though temporary, can have long-lasting effects if not addressed promptly. It's a stark reminder of why understanding and addressing mental health conditions like ASD is so crucial. By offering support and understanding, we can help those affected to navigate their way through the aftermath of trauma and towards recovery. Josh knew he needed help. He reached out to a mental health professional and began his journey towards recovery. It's a powerful step, acknowledging the need for help. It's a turning point, a beacon of hope in the midst of the storm. For Josh, it meant the beginning of his journey to reclaim his life from acute stress disorder, or ASD. He started with therapy, a common and effective form of treatment used to help individuals suffering from ASD. Utilizing cognitive behavioral therapy, Josh began working with a therapist to understand his reactions to stress and develop coping mechanisms. This form of therapy focuses on changing thought patterns that lead to harmful behaviors or emotional distress. Through therapy, Josh learned that his feelings were valid. He learned to navigate his emotions rather than suppress them. He learned that it's okay to feel stressed, anxious, or scared. It's okay to ask for help. In addition to therapy, medication can often play a critical role in managing ASD symptoms. For some, like Josh, medication provided the necessary relief to get through the day, to sleep at night, to begin feeling like themselves again. But recovery isn't just about therapy and medication. It's about lifestyle changes too. For Josh, it meant regular exercise, a balanced diet, and mindfulness techniques to manage his stress levels. It meant getting enough sleep, maintaining a routine, and reaching out to loved ones for support. Recovery is a process, a journey. It's not always linear and it's not always easy. There are good days and bad days. Days when the world seems brighter, and days when it's hard to get out of bed. But every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Recovery is about regaining control, about reclaiming your life from the clutches of ASD. It's about learning to live again, not just survive. This was Josh's journey. It was filled with ups and downs, but through therapy, medication, and lifestyle changes, Josh began to see a light at the end of the tunnel. With help, Josh began to regain control of his life. And that is the ultimate goal of recovery: to live again, free from the shadow of ASD, to regain control, to reclaim your life. Josh's story is not unique. Many people around the world are silently fighting their battles with acute stress disorder. In this world of constant hustle and bustle, it's easy to overlook the invisible battles that many people are fighting, the battles within their minds. Mental health conditions like acute stress disorder can often go undetected, hidden under the guise of everyday stress and strain. They are the unseen enemy, the silent tormentor, and yet they can have a profound impact on a person's life, altering their personality and affecting their overall well-being. But it's not all doom and gloom. There's a beacon of hope, and that hope lies in awareness and support. By understanding the nuances of conditions like acute stress disorder, we can start to shed light on these unseen battles. We can help bring these silent struggles out of the shadows and into the open. We can begin to tackle the stigma associated with mental health, breaking down the barriers that often prevent people from seeking the help they need. Support is equally important. A supportive environment can make a world of difference to someone dealing with a mental health condition. It can provide a safe space for them to share their experiences, to express their feelings, and to seek help. It can make them feel understood, validated, and less alone in their struggle. It can give them the strength to keep fighting, the courage to seek recovery, and the hope for a brighter future. But how do we create such an environment? It starts with each one of us. By educating ourselves about mental health conditions, by being empathetic and understanding, by offering a listening ear, a comforting word, or a helping hand, by treating those with mental health conditions with respect and dignity, and by standing up against stigma and discrimination. Your understanding and support can make all the difference. Let's stand together for mental health. By doing so, we can help turn the tide in the battle against mental health conditions, bringing hope and healing to those who need it most. Because no one should have to fight their battles alone.